Free expression is a basic part of democracy. It allows us to speak our minds, question the government, share unpopular opinions, and push for change. Without it, progress would be nearly impossible. But have you ever considered what would happen if people chose not to speak up? Not because it's illegal, but because they're afraid of the consequences? Well, there's a name for that. It's called the chilling effect, and it's something every Canadian should understand. The chilling effect is what happens when people are discouraged from expressing themselves because they're not sure whether what they want to say will lead to punishment or not. In other words, people censor themselves because the line between lawful and unlawful speech is unclear. Imagine you're in school and there's a rule against disruptive speech. Could seem reasonable. But what if a student wants to speak out against the principal's new policy? Technically, that might be seen as disruptive, especially if the principal is the one deciding what's disruptive and what's not. So the student stays quiet. Even though they should be allowed to speak, the rule makes them afraid to do so. They freeze up. That's a chilling effect. The rule may not ban the speech directly, but it creates an environment where people are chilled from talking and clam up. In Canada, freedom of expression is protected by Section 2B of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This includes the right to speak, write, protest, create art, and express ideas, even unpopular or uncomfortable ones. But that right is not unlimited. The government can limit speech, but only when the limit is reasonable and justified in a free and democratic society. That's Part 1, Section 1 of the Charter. For example, hate speech laws exist to prevent speech that dehumanizes groups or that leads to violence. But where's the line between hate speech and just a strong opinion, or a joke, or even a piece of art? The chilling effect happens when the line isn't clear, when people don't know what they can say, so they say nothing at all. Let's take an example. In 2013, a Canadian comedian was fined for making jokes about a disabled child who was in the public eye. That case went to court, and the Supreme Court ruled that the jokes, while hurtful, were not discriminatory. Some people supported the decision. They believed comedians should be able to say what they want, pushing social boundaries. Others felt it sent the wrong message about protecting vulnerable people from harmful language. No matter which side you agree with, the case shows how speech restrictions can send a message. Be careful what you say, or else. But the chilling effect isn't just about laws. It also happens when people are attacked or canceled online for expressing an opinion, even if it's thoughtful or well-meaning. When a single post gets taken out of context or a comment sparks outrage, people may learn to stay silent instead of risk speaking up. Ultimately, some argue that social pressure is just accountability, while others say it's becoming intolerance of debate. So here's the tough question. Can we protect people from harmful speech without making everyone else too scared to speak at all? Free speech isn't about agreeing. It's about allowing disagreement, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about how we challenge authority, ask questions, learn from others, and sometimes change our minds. Because the moment people stop speaking, not because they're wrong, but because they're afraid, is the moment we all stop learning.